Welcome back to another episode of the Eat Sleep Stream podcast. This is now episode 6. And as always, my name's Gus, aka Bruin. And today we have Beasweezle. How you doing today?
I'm good, but how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm kind of I feel like with everyone I've done, I might have said this, but I feel like each one gets more and more special for different reasons. And I feel like this one, which we kind of talked about, is we don't really know each other too well. Like we haven't, because of our stream schedules, because of what we're doing. It's kind of hard. Well, at least on my end, for me to get into your streams when you're streaming, just because I usually have work at the same time or whatever it is. So it's it's nice to have some set time aside to where we can talk.
Yeah, completely agree. I tend to catch up on streams like when I'm at work and I got my breaks and stuff. But as far as like when typically if I'm home, I'm gaming, I'm streaming, so
Yeah,
it's hard for me to catch other people's streams because of that.
yeah. And I think you are the number one person in terms of lurking, because I'll check
Oh
sometimes
yeah.
and then I always see you lurking in there. But yeah, dude. So I appreciate that on my end for what you do. But
Oh yeah, I get people all the time come in. They will tell me they'd be like, "Oh, I appreciate you looking at me the other day," and I'm like, honestly, I didn't even know I was. I'm like, don't get me wrong, I'm happy that I was. Like, I keep my computer running when I'm at work and everything, and I keep
oh,
lurks up
oh,
on
that's
tabs for
smart.
everybody.
Yeah.
And I can access my computer from my cell phone. If everything goes down, I can just like get right back on my phone and connect to the computer and then put up whatever I need to. So it's really nice. I actually had for the first time not too long ago, I had somebody finally, I knew it was going to happen one day, but somebody came into my stream and said, I thought you were a bot.
Oh, really?
And I was like, nope, nope, I'm not.
I guess
But
if
yeah,
you
it's
never streamed, I would probably think so too.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm good about, like especially when I first started, I've kind of fallen off of it a little bit, but I was good about, like, I go into people's streams and I'd be like, "Yo, who all streams here?" Like, I'm just trying to meet people and,
Yeah.
like, just, I would go follow everybody, and I know a lot of people didn't straight away follow me back because probably at the time I wasn't streaming in the first place, but, it took a little bit of time to get back around to me, I guess.
Mhm. And so why or what got you into Twitch and streaming? Just as a viewer first,
Uh
because like,
Well, honestly, I didn't watch too much Twitch to begin with. I mean, I've on and off, I guess I have. I typically used it as a platform to be like, if a game was coming out soon, I'd be like, okay, let's see who's streaming it, and let's see if I'd still go to. I've never really been one to watch all the bigger streamers. I do watch some of them from time to time, but I've always gone to smaller streamers where I can communicate and be like, what do you think about this game? How do you do this? Like, can you tell me, your thoughts on this?" And that's kind of what I've always gone to it for. And so that as a viewer, that's kind of where that all went into. Was a lot of times if a game was coming out, I'd want to know, okay, is this really going to be? It was a good way to save money, honestly, because watching
yeah.
streams, there's been games that I've seen and people have just been like, "Yo, this game is horrible. It's not optimized. It's bad." And like, I'd be like, "Okay, I'm glad I didn't, go straight into it," because to me, you can't always trust. Like, you can't just go watch an IGN video in the game or then be like, "Okay, like it's a great game." I need multiple people's opinions. I want to watch
Yeah.
hands on time. Like, I want to see what people think.
Was there ever a game that you bought because of the reason? Because of it was like reviewed good on Twitch streams that you saw?
Well, recently, well, probably past 4 months or so, I actually, and this is more of a recent thing, not a long time ago, like I was talking about, but Escape from Tarkov, I've always kind of wanted it, but I've always been on the fence about it. And then originally, I didn't really have a computer that was capable of handling it in the first place. But I actually kind of built my computer because I really wanted to play that game. But then when it came, like I'd watch streams on it and everything, and then by the time I got around to where I could play it and stuff, I was like, I still don't know if like I really want it because it has a bunch of mixed reviews where some people just love the game, then some people, they got so many complaints that it's kind of like, I mean, it's an early access game, so it's going to have its issues. But finally, I broke down. I got it, started playing it, and I've been happy since playing it.
Mhm. And has there ever been anybody who you watch as a streamer? Because right when you were talking about like kind of using it as a review platform, there's like this YouTuber years ago that I'm really into movies, and he would. I felt like his reviews were kind of my views on them too. Like that's just how I would view them. That's why I kept watching them. Has there been anybody like that for you with games and streaming?
I feel like not through Twitch or anything. I feel like there's been I can't even think off the top of my head who it would have been, but I know there's been people like that I've watched or like even people IRL that I've met
Mhm.
that like I'm like yeah, because I'm a big movie buff too. I love watching movies, and there's some people that I'd be like, okay, he said it's good, so
Yeah.
I typically am on his scale when it comes to liking movies, especially because like I love horror movies. They're very hit and miss with a lot of people. There are tons of them that are like you either love it, you hate it,
Yeah.
and it's very mixed bag.
Mhm. So going back into, I guess, more of, I call it like I want the stream to be like your origin story. So in regards to streaming, so one question
Yeah.
I have to ask that I completely forgot with one person and it bites me every time. How did you get the name Beasweezle?
uh yeah, so I was in probably 10th grade or so. My last name is Beasley, and I've always been called by all my friends Bees, like, and that's what I prefer people to call me even now, even with the name Beasweezle. I prefer to just be called Bees. And most people do. That's why it's all bees themed kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I was in German class one day, and I can't remember like if I was right outside of class, like getting ready to walk in, or if I was in class and my teacher didn't see me. She just out of nowhere said, "Where is Beasweasel?" Like it was out of nothing. Like it was crazy, and like I don't know why. I don't even remember like when she said it being that big of a deal. It may have been something that some of the other kids in class may have been picking on me with, and I've just kind of taken it as my own. But it stuck with me, and I was like, I've always had a thing for original names too. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
never I've just and this is no offense to anyone, but it's just never been my thing to have like numbers or like underscores or stuff in my name. Like
Mm-hmm.
I want to be original, just I want to be the only Beasweasel out there,
Yeah.
and that's just kind of it just kind of all worked out. That's what it's been. I've never had any kind of conflicts with it. um, yeah, my German teacher. Shout outs to her.
I was about to say I thought it had something to do with the last name because right when I saw your name, I had in I think my senior year of high school, I had he taught Photoshop and like a class I took. His name was it's spelled like your name or the first part. It was Beas. It was Beas. So
Yeah.
I thought seeing your name for the first time, I thought it was Beasweezle until I knew everybody was talking and I was like, okay, that's not it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so
I get that. I get Bees Wheezy is one that makes me cringe real hard.
Weasley, how do they get
I
that?
Bees Wheezy. They
Oh,
think the
Weasley.
L
Oh,
on the end is
oh,
I. And then I've been called
oh.
Bees Weasley. I've been called Beasel Weasel. Like it's gone all over the place. And like I said, I prefer to be called Bees because growing up, I mean that was always my nickname anyway.
Mhm.
So that's what everybody called me.
All right. And so, why streaming? I know you were watching streams, and you kind of talked about that, how you got into watching it. But what made you decide to pursue it in terms of streaming?
So before I was actually like streaming like I am now, um, I've always been really close with my siblings. Like I kind of helped raise them for the first, let's see, at least 9 years by the youngest kid of their lives, and so they've always been really close to me. And then when my mom moved away to Georgia, which isn't that far, she lives like an hour, a little bit over an hour away from me now. And my siblings, they would always grow up because I've always been a gamer. I've always played games, and so my siblings would literally just come sit in my room sometime, bring their toys, and they just sit around and watch me play video games. So they grew up on it with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I originally got into Twitch streaming, I mean, I wasn't watching chat. I wasn't what I would call myself a streamer at that time. I was literally doing it so my siblings had a platform to watch me play games like we used to. And that's really what came about it. And then I kind of fell off of it, and then uh, I started getting into it more hardcore when me and you've had Firefox on. We've been
Mhm.
friends for a decade now, and he started talking about doing it and getting into it. And then I kind of was like, I miss kind of doing it, for my siblings, but I'd like to do it a little more hardcore, I guess. And now that's just kind of where I am now.
I know. I thought it was really interesting because I knew. Well, I mean, to the people who've watched or listened, we've had Coast on and we've had Firefox on, and it's crazy to me that you guys are, or we're all pretty close in this like little community we have, and the three of you actually like know each other or Coast a little. I know you know Firefox more, but
Yeah.
what's that like knowing people in real life that are doing like pursuing the same aspect as you are?
I mean, it's wonderful. I think is that like I tell everybody every time they come around to it, like I've had people go like why I've had people ask me like why do you stream it? It's like I've been thinking about doing it, and my response is always like do it, man. Like and they'd be like well I don't have a fancy green screen. I'm like you don't need it, man. Like if it's something you want to do, just do it. And it's great seeing like people I know doing it. It's fun watching. I love watching Coast. Like, and typically, I'd watch Firefox more, but we literally work the same exact schedule.
Mhm.
We work at the same place. We go to work at the same time, get off at the same time. So I never actually watch his, but I watch Coast all the time. He's honestly one of my favorite people to sit down and watch. But yeah, it's great knowing like seeing people in his chat and stuff. And yeah, I'll bring up oh yeah, well we live in like the same area, even though me and Costa never met. I'm
Yeah,
hoping that's going to change soon.
I know. He said that you guys, I think your high schools were like 15 minutes apart or something like that.
Yeah, like we all live in the same town. There's just like 10 or so different schools
Yeah.
because it's a large city. It's just broken up into little different subsections of it.
Mhm. And I guess going back, do you remember the first game you had that like got you hooked into gaming?
uh Well, my very first game was Mario and Duck Hunt all on one game on the original Nintendo. And I used to come home from school and like I'd sit like same that I do now. I just want to play video games all the time, and that's what I did. Is I wanted to go home and play video games. My parents, tried to force going outside on me, and if I had friends and stuff to play, then that was fine. But when I was alone, man, that's all I wanted to do was go back into, I wanted to go back into the house and play Duck Hunt. God, I love Duck Hunt.
Duck Hunt. Wait, well, that was on Super Nintendo, right?
I'm pretty sure it was regular Nintendo that it originally came out with Mario, didn't it? It may have been the Super
I'm not sure. Cool.
Nintendo.
Well,
I
because
thought it
I
was
think I
original
had a
Nintendo.
my dad got a Duck Hunt and it came with a gun, right?
Yeah, it came with the
Yeah,
orange gun.
and it all he
I thought it
also
was
had.
original Nintendo
I don't
because the
know.
Super Nintendo was a little bit thinner. The one I had was,
Oh yeah,
thicker, and you
this
loaded a
was a thing.
cartridge
Yeah,
from the
then you're
front,
right.
had the little flap.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. I got it mixed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had that one, and then one where there was like a mat, and you would like run or walk on the mat, and it would sense
Oh,
it.
there was some kind of we were I heard the radio station near me was talking about that the other day. I think it was like some kind of Olympics game or something like
Yeah,
that. It was something to do with fitness. I never had that, but I remember it was so funny because I heard that on the radio the other day, and it's a rock radio station. It has nothing to do with video games, and that came up.
Uh, but well, okay. So I guess in regards to yourself, what is one thing that you want or you would like your viewers to get from watching your streams?
Uh it's it's hard to sometimes practice what I preach, I guess, because I do get a little salty or triggered from time to time. I like to think I handle things better than a lot of people, but I try to preach positivity and like not in a fake way. Like I don't think you should be positive if you don't feel like being it. But I mean, honestly, like I'm playing games to have a good time. I want to be positive. I want to always have a good outlook on games. And sometimes I get a little lower than that. Like I'm not always like, yeah, we're gonna do good. Like this is gonna go well. And typically, I got Coast there, who's like,
Yeah.
there's never a time that Coast is like, all right, we got this, guys. Everything's gonna be
Yeah,
fine. We're doing good. I'm
exactly.
not as vocal about it, but he is on it, man. Like
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
Yeah, no, I told him that too when I had him on, and then I just remember because I myself, like, I play with a lot of people. Well, not a lot of people that get mad, but like people that get more upset than I do in games. Like for me, it's like if I die in Fortnite or something, whatever it is, by the time the loading screen is taking me back to the lobby, I'm already over it.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
Coast, and so I thought that was pretty good. Coast is like I've never played with somebody more positive in a game.
Oh yeah, he is insane. I think like the first time I've ever played a game with him was on Overwatch, and I mean it was he's literally carrying us with positivity. Like,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what I wanted to go for when I was streaming just in general. Like I just like I got a thing on my stream that says peace, love, and positivity, and that's all I really want is like when people come in, I just want to be like, yo, how you doing? Like it's so good to see you. And I'm genuine about it. I do.
Mhm.
Like it's been so much fun meeting all these people that, I otherwise never would have met.
Mhm.
And I think the other great thing about streaming, and I've brought this up to a couple people before, is like when I first started gaming back on online gaming anyway, was probably on Xbox One. I'm not Xbox One, Xbox 360. Um, when I first started gaming there, when I met people online, like it never was what the gaming community has become today. It was always like people like in good spirits and like you met so many people that were just friends and like people who would always tell you like good try, good games, stuff like that. And now it's like you play a game on like console, and I'm so glad I've kind of come away from that. It's always like hate messages back to you about, oh, you're so terrible, you're just
Yeah.
camping, stuff like that. And I'm like, and there's no fun in that. Like
Mhm.
I get there's people that want to be competitive, and I'm not hardcore like that. Like I'd rather just play and have a good time. I can lose every game in Overwatch, and as long as everybody's happy and we're having fun, cracking jokes and stuff, then it's all good.
Yeah, and I feel like it's kind of crazy when, cause like I mean I feel like everybody who plays online gets that, and I've gone that too, and I feel like I don't know if you play League of Legends, but I play
I,
that,
I dabbled.
and it's like every game there's always one person who it's a public lobby, it's not like ranked play, nothing, and then they just go off like, oh, they're just talking about one guy who's not doing good or whatever. But it's like, dude, if you're
Yeah.
going that hard, go to rank play. Go to we're match on the same level, whatever it is. But it's like, how can you get mad when you're going into like a public lobby like that?
Yeah, and I get that. Like when you're playing competitive Overwatch, I think it's a completely different
Yeah,
experience than playing quick play. And I mostly play quick play. I don't hardly ever play competitive. I did have a little bit of a streak where I was having a good time playing competitive and it was working out. And it's fun if you got like a full six stack of people. But if I'm especially solo queuing and stuff,
yeah,
man, no, it's horrible.
yeah. Do you watch competitive or any sport
I
or esport?
I have watched some of the Overwatch competitive because that's just it's top tier gameplay. It's the meta. It's what you want to strive to be. And I do like I'm a little late in the game to playing Overwatch in the first place. I'm getting ready to come up on maybe um, my first year of playing Overwatch, and the game has
Oh,
been out for a while.
yeah.
And yeah, so I've kind of come into it late, but I do like if I've got some little bit of free time, I may watch like the highlights and stuff. But typically, like when I get on Twitch and I'm watching live, I like to watch smaller streamers and watch my friends. I like interacting with people,
Mhm.
and it's the same thing whether I'm streaming or I'm watching someone stream. I like talking to people and
Yeah,
getting to know them.
yeah. And I feel like that's for me too, like the number one reason why I started streaming. But with even just viewing, it's like randomly just meeting people like you mentioned. Um,
Oh yeah.
but I guess going back a little bit into like the esport competitive side, I just want to know real quick: have you ever seen the obviously when the pros are playing? Have you ever seen them do anything to where it's like, wow, I didn't know you can do that, and then kind of like you learning a tip, like you talked about earlier.
Oh yeah, like I can't mention, I can't really say like a specific time that's happened, but it's literally all the time. There's like every time I watch like somebody, whether it's actually a pro person playing a game, or for instance like watching, I'll watch bigger streamers from time to time on like Tarkov, where it's a game like I'm absolutely trash at and I'm trying to get better, and I'll watch them, and it's absolutely insane the difference in gameplay between me and them. And that's kind of what I want to watch. I want to watch and see like what their movements are, whether it's Rocket League, it's Overwatch, it's Tarkov. It's all about. I'm wanting to get better though. You know, I'm playing it for fun, but the fun in it is getting better and doing better to me.
Yeah. And I guess kind of related again to how people, I know we've kind of talked about like how you watched certain people for like the review aspect, then you watch a little bit of competitive, but then you also just like watching smaller streamers. What do you say to the
Yeah.
people who are just learning about Twitch for the first time?
To like wanting to stream themselves or just
Just
wanting
hearing
to
about the
watch?
platform in general.
I mean, it's a wonderful place to be. Like, it's literally got things for everyone. Like, I've heard some people say, and this isn't to call anybody out, this is just purely for conversation. I've heard some people say, you know, like, it's kind of crap that you're got to try to be positive all the time. I don't think that's true. I think that's the complete opposite. I think the whole point in streaming is to be yourself, or even, you know, break out of your shell, like Coast was saying, where he's shy. I'm also a very shy person, and it has helped me tremendously. And you know, it's be who you want to be. There's people who watch, like people who are salty and trolls and stuff like that, you know, and that's fine. You know, I'm perfectly fine with people being like that on Twitch. You know, it's going to cater to a certain community. It's not the community I want to be a part of, but it's for each their own. And I think that's a wonderful thing. It's literally a melting pot of different worlds, different types of gameplay. Like it's whatever you want. Like there's literally nobody that I can think of that could come in and be like, I can't find anybody like me on Twitch. Like there's gonna be somebody out there that sees things the way you do, maybe not to a T, but you know, you're gonna have a lot in common with, and you're gonna build a relationship off of too. And it's a wonderful experience, both viewer and streamer.
All right. And I guess going into what, just a random tangent, who are, I guess, three streamers that you feel need more, not need more attention, that sounds weird, but who are three streamers you recommend watching?
Coast, like straight off the bat. um just like if you want full positivity and never seeing anything salty, that's where you go, man. Like if I'm down, that's who I watch. That's my boy. And like I said, I've never even met him, and like it's crazy. He's so fun to watch. And it's kind of it's insane too, because he's even later to the game than we are as far as streaming goes. Nezzy Time, another one that I play a lot of games with. He's got his own thing. It's completely different from me or Coast, but I have a blast every time I get to play games with him. Like, and I've been watching him well before I actually play games with him. I mean, he's Canadian. He gets to he gets to do things that are illegal here on stream over because they're legal over there, so it's not against TOS. So it's kind of crazy. It's a different world. And then let's see who else is. I'm trying to think of people too. And I know I said Coast, and he's been on the channel. I'm trying to think of like people who haven't been on. The Filthy Jester, that's another good one. He's the wackiest character I've ever met. Like you would think just watching him like straight out of the gate, he's a little crude. He's funny, always cracking jokes. But then he will get down with you and like have serious one-on-ones. He cares about people. He cares about his community. And he's another thing, and this is not a stab at him or anything, because I love watching his channel, but it's proof that like you don't have to have top of the line stuff to bring good entertainment, because he streams like from his PlayStation. He does have a webcam. He has a good mic, I will say that. But I'm pretty sure like he plays music over his phone into the mic, so
Oh,
like it's not
yeah,
the greatest quality. I think he's using a laptop that isn't, top notch. So I think he's working on getting him a PC built and stuff, and that's awesome. But it's just proof that like a lot of people think, I've got to have. You don't even have to have a webcam. There's plenty of people out there who don't even have that stream. And I mean, if you're doing it for the views or you're just doing it for fun, I mean, people who do it either way, and it's a good time.
yeah. And who's one person that you would like to come onto like a platform like this to where you kind of get to know them a little bit more?
Hmm. That's a question I wasn't expecting. A person that I would want to come to streaming. Are we talking about like famous or?
I'm talking. It doesn't matter. It could be your mailman.
I honestly, okay. I would love to see my wife do this.
Oh,
She's really into makeup, and she used to watch makeup tutorials all the time, and she was like, I can do that. And I was like, then you should. And
yeah.
I've fully been like, you really should get into this. I tell her all the time. She'll be like, well, maybe I could do something like that. And I'm like, you can. Like, and I have all the equipment you ever need.
Yeah.
And I really would like to see her try that.
And what does she think about streaming, or what does like the family or the people you're close to think about it, and maybe what they thought about it when you first introduced it to them, and then what they think about it now?
Really, the only one that I can really bring up is my wife. My two parents, they don't really. My mom may know that I do it, but she definitely doesn't watch. My siblings, of course, know I do, and they do watch from time to time. They don't really talk and chat, and I think that's fine. I think that's another issue that people have problems with, is they think that if you're watching, you should be chatting. I think the opposite. I think it's perfectly fine to sit there and watch it like a TV show. Um, but my wife, she's always, told me, she's like, it's great that you're doing something that you love and that you get out there and do stuff like that. She doesn't sit there and like watch my stream. She doesn't watch VODs, nothing like that. She just kind of accepts that it's what I do, and she's fully supportive that I do it. She's never been about games. She's never like I tried to get her to play sub. I got her to play Skyrim once, and it was an absolute hilarious ride to watch, but she cannot get the movement and camera angle down at the same time. She'll play like some older Nintendo titles, but not she has no interest in video games whatsoever. So she never watches streams, but she knows I do it. She even said, like, I've been talking about doing this podcast the past couple of days, and she was actually, right before we got together, she was like, I was just gonna come sit down and listen to y'all, and I was like, yeah, it's gonna be going through my headphones. You're not gonna hear me. So she's like, I think she's really interested. She's gonna listen to this. I know for sure. We would listen to she, like I said, she's not into video games, and I said something about listening to it with me because I wanted to go over it, so I didn't really have too many surprises, so I knew some things to answer. Um, but we were listening to Coast on the way home today because we went out today and ate, and she's like, I really, she didn't really want to listen at first because she's like, I just don't like video games, so it's not really my thing. She
Mhm.
listens to podcasts all the time, but it's mostly like murder podcasts and stuff like that. She
Yeah.
loves listening to stuff like that. But you listen to Coast, and she was like really enjoying it. She even told me, she was like, her words, and I was just playing with Coast too right before we got together, and I told him about this. I said, she was like, he's annoyingly positive like you too, and I was like, yeah, because she knows that like I try to preach positivity no matter what's going on, and she's always like, I don't see how you can be happy in certain situations, and I'm like, I just accept them for what they are. I
Yeah.
mean, nothing's actually everything's just a situation to me. It's not a problem unless you make it that.
Yeah. And that right when you said that, it just reminded me of back in college. I had a roommate who, at the time, it was weird. I was in a pretty much I would play when I was younger, and then right around like high school, I stopped playing games. I think all I had was a Xbox 360 with like NBA 2K whatever at the time. So I like
Yeah.
wasn't really playing. And then when I got to college, my roommate was into League of Legends and Magic the Gathering, but more in terms of gaming, League of Legends. And he's going off on like getting mad in the game. I'm like, dude, like he got to the point where I was like I don't even know what to say. Like he had to step away from the game, and I was just like, dude, like I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a game, man. Like it's all right. And he's like, yeah,
Yeah,
but like he just got caught up.
yeah. I've told people before, like, I don't get angry like when the other team is talking smack or just being trolly or anything. Like that doesn't get under my skin typically. What gets on my nerves is like when my teammates are like, they're supposed to be supportive and everything, and they're the ones
Oh
like
yeah,
yelling at you and getting on to you.
yeah,
I'm like, what's the point? Like, I'm not gonna play this game with you guys if you just want to
yeah,
be asses about it. That's really what it comes down to. I'm here to have a good time. Like I don't mind being a little competitive, and like I love learning. Like Overwatch was, I was far behind in that, and Firefox was there to, teach me what he knew and stuff. And I'm fine with like tell me, you're doing this wrong. Like you need to be doing this. Like that doesn't get under my skin. You're giving me, constructive criticism. That's different than being like, oh, you're complete garbage, man. Just stop trying to do that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
teach me how to do it. I'm
Exactly.
perfectly fine with that.
Yeah. And I know I mainly want you to be talking because this is for you, but I have another small little story that just
No,
reminded
I
me of
love
all
this. I
this.
love learning about you too, man. Like it's great hearing.
So same roommate that I had in college. I had a friend who went to another college, a little ways away from me, and he was visiting, and he was like telling me, he was like, "Hey, like I got really into League of Legends recently," and I'm like, "Oh, my roommate plays that." At the time, I've never played before, and he was like, "Oh, really?" Like, and then they started talking about it. Then they're like, "Oh, we should all play." And then so I don't know if I had a laptop at the time or he let me borrow. He had a spare one, so the three of us are playing. My roommate probably knows more about the game than all of us, the three of us combined, or the two of us combined. Then my other friend was getting into it, so we're all playing. Never played before. Don't even know at the time where all the keys are for all the moves, and we're playing. It's like mid game, and my roommate's getting mad. He's yelling at me. He's like, "Use your ulti, use your ulti." And I'm like, "What does that mean?" And me and my friend just start cracking up, and he's like getting upset. He's like, "It's the Q button. It's the Q." I'm like, "Oh, okay, now I know." But it's like, yeah, I always think about it when I first got into gaming. Really, that was like the first day, and I had no idea what was going on, and he was getting all mad.
Yeah, I mean, I love coming into games and like learning. I talked about this on stream today. I had a little shorter stream, and I was telling people, I like playing Tarkov. I'm really bad at it, like really bad at it, and like I want to play it and get better. And there's people that I play with that are like just gods. They're really good, and they'll be like, "Oh, come on, we'll carry you." And I'm like, I don't technically want that. Like, I don't want to be carried. I want to get good for myself. I was like, I want you to teach me because there's obviously plenty of stuff that you can send my way that I need to learn. But I don't want to play a game and just be carried the whole game. Like I want to do stuff that I'm gonna feel proud of.
Yeah, and in regard, so this is like the last, well, not the last. If we want to talk more about it, we can go ahead. But I kind of have some other things I want to ask you. But in regards to streaming, or oh my gosh, I just blanked out on my question.
Oh no.
Um, well, with your streams, I know you mentioned Overwatch a lot, and I can't pronounce it. Escape from Tarkov.
Tarkov.
Tarkov. Okay. But what other games do you stream?
Um, so I play a lot. I'm glad that I'm here at my computer because I can go through some of them because I'm bad with thinking of stuff off the
Yeah.
top of my head sometimes. I mostly play Rocket League and Overwatch. Honestly, there's little games here and there that I play. I've been playing a lot of the golf club 2019 when I'm just kind of chilling with Nezzy most of the time. I know I barely play it by myself, but it's kind of just I say it's chill, but honestly, I get triggered with it really bad sometimes. Like I
Wait, is
get
that the one
angry with the game.
where it's wait, what is it again?
It's the golf club 2019. It's like a Tiger Woods game, but it's a
Oh,
little more simulator type. But
oh, okay. I
yeah,
think
it
yeah.
can be a little triggering, but it's still a ton of fun. What you're probably thinking of is Golf with Friends,
Yeah.
and I have that too, and that's a fun one to play.
That's one I was thinking of.
Anything that I get to, I'm a very social gamer. Like for instance, like Fortnite. it's everyone's thing, and it's just not my thing. I don't mind playing with people though. Like
Yeah.
I'm not one of these people who'll sit here and bash it. I think it's a great game
Mhm.
for those who are into it. I'm not a battle royale person just in general. I'm not good at them. It's not my favorite thing to play. However, like Overwatch, one of my favorite games to play right now. If I'm playing solo and Coast is like, "Hey, you want to come play some Fortnite with me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm on it."
Yeah.
Like I'll drop a game in an instant if it means I get to play with somebody because I'm much more social,
Mhm.
interactive. Like I like to talk, I like to cut up. Like I need that conversation going on. Um, I've also let's see if there's anything else. I've played a minimal amount of Dead by Daylight. It's really fun. I just haven't. I don't know. It hasn't grasped me like I wanted it to,
Mhm.
but it's great. I do enjoy playing it. I just need to. I guess I need to sit down with it more. Anthem I've been getting into a little bit here, but it's another one of those where I'm not sure if it's gonna hold me for a long time because I'm worried more about the end game. So I haven't played it the past few days because I'm kind of wanting to slow down because I don't want to
First
just
throw,
like
yeah.
go through the game so quickly and then the end game not be that good and then just feel like it was ruined because mechanics and everything, the game's really fun, but it's like I said, I'm kind of worried about in game because that's what happened to Destiny, and Destiny was one of my all time favorite games, and put a ton of hours into that, and then it the when Destiny 2 came out, like story was so good and everything, and I loved it, and then the end game was just they catered so much to a casual gamer, which I understand and I get, but then you take away from the hardcore gamers that put in like 2,000 2,500 hours into Destiny 1. Like it kind of sucked. And so like I took a week off to play that game
Oh
and I
wow.
already had 3 characters like just maxed out. And it was kind of like what to do now.
Yeah.
Like it was just kind of crap in that aspect. It's had its ups and downs, but it's still not brought me back.
And what about, have you tried any other, like, I know Apex right now, or Call of
Oh yeah,
Duty,
I
or
was just that's why I was just playing with Coast a little bit ago.
oh
I played a little bit of it. I am horrible at it, like
okay.
really bad. Like I'm trying, like, and it's not like I don't feel like my mechanics are horrible. Like I feel like I'm okay with shooting and everything. I just don't understand, man. I feel like I go down super quick and I lay into people and nothing
Yeah.
happens. And I know it's just one of those things that I need to play more of. And that's the other problem is everyone is playing it right now. So like everybody's hardcore into it. And since I'm just casually
Yeah.
into it, I'm not getting better at a rate that they are. So I'm always at a disadvantage with that. And that's all my own fault.
Oh man. I don't know if you were watching, but I was playing Apex the other night on stream, and we got second place. We
Yeah.
But the reason why we got second place was, oh man. So we were top three. There were, and then we see a team go down. So we're looking, and then my other two teammates, they climb on top of like a cliff. They jump up, both of them. I go up right behind them. I can't jump up the cliff. I try 7 times. I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, oh, just like ease into it and go. I'm like, I don't really know. But anyway, so I'm trying. The other team comes up, sees me struggling, kills me from behind, and then my guys were just outnumbered. And it goes back to just
Yeah.
like learning the.
Yeah, that's really what it comes to. You just gotta learn it. And that takes some time.
Oh, wait, one moment. Oh, can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
you like got muted there for a while.
Yeah. I don't know why I just came back. Anyways, okay, we'll cut that out.
Yeah,
So, oh wow, we've been talking for like 40 minutes ish, and
I'm not in any kind of rush,
okay,
just
okay,
by the way.
no. I just see, with me is, I'm not in a rush either. If we want to talk more, we're good. It's just I tell somebody a certain time to where I feel bad if, you know what I mean. Like
No, I feel like I could do this probably. I could literally, like, I stream typically anywhere between 8 and 12 hours, and I literally could probably do this the whole stream just talking and like catching up and stuff. And really, I think that's what's great about. And I don't typically do it too much, but
Mhm.
the just chatting feature in Twitch, like I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's wonderful when you got people in the chat that will sit there and talk to you about stuff. And like I'll pull up YouTube videos and stuff. I typically do it like if I'm taking a lunch break or something,
Oh,
and
okay.
I'll just eat lunch on stream and chat with people.
All right. That's a different because I've been wanting to do one with because everybody that I've done this likes it and likes likes this just like communicating back and forth, having a conversation as opposed to, or I mean, just hanging out. And
Yeah.
one thing I want to do is I think I've mentioned it before and you probably already know, but like have multiple people on who've already been on to either just talk, or even I was thinking of doing like a trivia of like a one like two, like you against Coast on like comic book trivia or something like that.
Okay. Dude, I'd be
Um,
down for that. I'm not saying I do good at it, but I love like board games and like
yeah,
just stuff like that, like trivia. Like I like doing it. I'm not always good at it, but
mhm.
I like it. It's a social interactive
Yeah,
thing, and
exactly.
that's what I'm all about. I love it.
And yeah, that's something I've been thinking about doing. It's just so hard to get everybody on the same page in terms of time.
Yeah, like I
But
said, I know when I'm on night shift. Of course, me and Firefox are always we're on the same shift, so we're
yeah,
easy. I think to get together if he's free from his family, if he's not doing stuff. But on night shift, I know we're both technically free most of the night, and then on night
yeah,
shift, that's all Coast works, so that's when he's
yeah,
free. And Smitty's about that time too because he's all the way on West Coast versus us, so he's always 3 hours behind. So I don't think that's too much. I will say, like I've been enjoying watching. I sat down and listened to I think three of the podcasts all in one night at work,
oh wow,
and I really like the time for a meeting because that was the first one that I got to that I didn't know. I
yeah,
didn't know the streamer whatsoever, and I dropped a
mhm,
follow after listening and stuff. And like that was fun to hear. That was a completely different person, like somebody who wasn't mainly a gaming streamer,
yeah,
and that was really interesting.
yeah. And that was for me too. The same kind of like with you. Like I know who they are. I've watched a couple of his streams, but I haven't. I didn't really get to know him as much until the podcast happened. And that's
Yeah,
one thing I like hearing too is like other people finding, because that's why the main reason why I did this was to just me myself get to know people more, and
yeah,
then using this as a way of right now, so maybe people who watch Time for a Meetings stream are watching this and they're like, hey, I don't really know Bees that much, but I'll go check them out, like the same way you did Time. So
yeah.
uh yeah, I mean that's just yeah, that's just pretty much how I thought it would work out.
Yeah, and I think it's great. I love like whether it's watching, and I've probably listened to him multiple times because I listen to him on Spotify like when I'm at work, so I don't have to keep my phone on the whole time. And then when I'm at home, I'll watch him on YouTube so I can actually see people's reactions
Yeah.
and what's actually because there has been times where like for instance when Coast was talking about his pop vinyl, like if I'm listening to that on podcast, I'm not seeing it, so I don't know
Yeah.
exactly what it looks like or anything. So
I
it's
thought you were
fun to
gonna
watch
bring
it on
up
both platforms.
yeah, I thought you were gonna bring up with Coast because there was a when I asked him, which I'll ask you right now, what some advice you would give to somebody streaming, and he said pretty much don't be, in a way, uh, you know, kind of not be so just into the game, just like standing there. And so he didn't say anything, and he was just like, oh, like, and he was just standing like that for a couple seconds, and I had to check. I was like, did he freeze on my screen? But yeah, the video brings another aspect to that. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
but I guess going into what I just said, in regards to somebody who wants to just start streaming, what's a word of advice or a couple, couple words of advice on streaming?
Well, if you're doing it for money, I can't really preach on you about that, like where you should go about it and everything. Like I have fundamental differences on people who do it specifically for like this is what I want to do for the rest of my life for a job. I'm kind of the opposite. Like I don't ever like if it becomes to a point where it could make me financial stable, maybe something worth looking into. But I definitely don't want to be one of those guys who like I've got to stream what people want to see all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I bring my stream to be myself, so I want to play what I want to play and or play with people I want to play. Like I don't want to do it for that. I think the hard thing for people to get used to is like they'll come watch me, and I by no means consider myself any kind of a popular streamer or anything, but they'll see me. I'd say like here lately, my average has been around 15 viewers or so. Like they'll see me and they'll be like, "Oh man, I only got like 2 or 3 viewers like the whole stream." I'm like, "That's great, man. That means people were watching you."
Yeah.
And like, don't give up on that grind. Like it doesn't take a day and you're just popular. You gotta keep the grind going. And same thing that Coast said, interact with your chat. Like if you're, I think there's, like I said, Twitch has media for everyone, whether you want to watch somebody being troll or you want to watch somebody being positive, you want to watch somebody learning. Like I personally love watching, and I love streaming this too, playing games that I've never played before or watching games I've never watched before, like or that nobody's played before. I like watching those noob streams because
Yeah.
it's fun learning with them and watching the struggles that they had that I may have had. But it's if you're there to I think if you're there to entertain and stuff, then you really do need to communicate with your chat. And that's what you should primarily be focusing on, and gameplay a second. And then there's people who do watch people for they want that high skill level, they want that shroud aim, like they watch it just for that. Like Shroud's not the one who's going to sit there and be, I mean, you wouldn't be able to read every message on
Yeah.
his channel by any means, but you watch him because you want to watch like top notch gameplay. And I think that's perfectly fine. Like I said, that's the thing, is there's something for everybody. But yeah, it's do it because you love doing it. Whether I don't have a problem with people doing it for money. If that's a goal of yours and that's what you want out of life, then I love you for it. I hope the best for you. It's just it's not my thing. To me, making money off the side is just it's a perk. And I appreciate people giving selflessly and stuff, but I tell people all the time, they'll come in and be like, "Hey man, I didn't have any." He said, I wish I could sub and stuff." And I'm like, "Dude, you being here, like I appreciate all subs more than anything, but you being here and chatting with me, that's really what it's about. I want that interaction. Like I want you to talk to me. I rather have somebody that's never subbed to me who's in there every night chatting with me than somebody who's subbed and I never, see again." So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to get started, like, be that positive person, like welcome everybody into your stream, make them priority. That's how you, to me, that's the best way to grow, starting out small, because I mean, people want to be acknowledged. People want to know that you see them, that, they like feeling special. And it makes me feel special that people are watching. So, I'm all for it.
And I feel like I know your answer to this because of pretty much, well, even before today, I could have told you this. But I don't know if you've seen, there's this video going around on Twitter about I don't know who it is. I mean, if I looked into it, I probably would find it, but it's a girl streamer. And she's talking about, it has nothing to do with the fact she's a girl. It's just, that's all I remember. And she was mentioning how people who are just, like, for instance, going into your stream and just watching you without subbing or donating or whatever it is, they're leeching because they're getting free content, pretty much. That's how she
See,
explained it.
and to me, that's for then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's great that people pay, but they pay for added stuff. Like they do it for the emotes, they do it for the recognition, and I think that's fine. Like that's great. But I mean, there's nothing wrong to me with people watching you. Like I don't always want to, there's been times that I've sat down and watched somebody stream. I may say, "Hey, how you doing?" And then I just sit there and watch it, because it's, to me, it's like a TV show.
Yeah.
Like I just want to sit there sometimes. It would be annoying, like even though if you remember like the old Goosebumps books and stuff, like where you choose your
Oh
destiny
yeah.
kind of thing, like on TV shows, yeah, that would be fun. And they're kind of, getting into that a little bit. But like it wouldn't be something I'd want to do all the time. I wouldn't always want to interact. Like sometimes I just want to lay down and watch.
Yeah.
And I think that's another great platform that Twitch handles. Like it's great to just sit down and relax and watch. You don't have to, especially like when I'm watching the more skill, like I'm watching because I want to see skilled players.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not typically in there to interact. I'm there to watch and look at every little thing they're doing. So I'm typically just laying back and watching. But yeah, I think that's dumb. If I'm just being honest, that you think everybody needs to pay for you. In fact, I joke about this all the time. If you ever hear me, Coast, or Nezzy, any of us joking about it, we'll come in there. We'll be like, "Yo, if you're gonna be watching me, you better gift 20 subs right now, or you can just get out of here." And I know there may be somebody that just pops in randomly
Yeah.
and hears that and thinks I'm being serious, but I never am. Like we're doing it because we're making fun of people like that. Like I think it's dumb. I never expect anybody to give anything. It's purely like I do it for the interaction, and I love meeting people. It's absolutely just amazing. Some of the things I've learned about people from different countries, from everything. It's wonderful.
And then not only that, like I totally agree 100%. But I
Yeah,
also feel like let's say you do view it from her point of view in terms of like it's about the money, which obviously we both don't feel that way. But let's say you do. Wouldn't that be hurting your money coming in because viewers are gonna not want to come in to just watch you anymore? You know what I mean? Like
yeah, yeah. I definitely think that.
she's already assuming like someone who comes in is automatically gonna sub to her. It's like for me at least, it's like I'll come into your stream, watch it for a little bit. If I like it, follow it. Maybe a stream or two later if I really do like it, or right away if I really do like it, then I'll do it. But yeah, I know when I saw that everybody was just commenting about pretty much saying the total opposite, like what you said, pretty much. And it's
Yeah, like I said, to each their own, and if that's the
yeah,
way you're doing it, then that's your thing. But no, I completely disagree with it. Now I will say, like, it's a wonderful feeling, like when I think one of the craziest things that I've experienced is when somebody comes in there, they literally follow you and then they sub to you with Twitch Prime, and it's like, holy shit, like you could have used that on anybody, like the millions of people that you could
yeah,
have watched. You like me that much that you just drop a follow and you instantly sub. Like, I mean, it's a great feeling because that makes you feel like you're doing your job, and that and I don't look at this as a job per se, but
yeah,
you're doing something right.
yeah. Like you're
And
being
that's just
recognized
a
for
good
what you're
feeling
doing.
to
Yeah.
you. Yeah,
Mhm.
like if somebody feels to selflessly give to you, then that means that you are entertaining. Like that's the point of it.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing it for money or you're doing it not for money, or you're doing it to show skill, or you're doing it to just be there, it's all about the entertainment.
Mhm. All right. And something I've been wanting to ask, but I wanted to wait till the end because that's kind of more like the non-stream related questions. What's your
Yeah.
favorite comic book superhero or superhero? I guess.
Uh, Superhero Green Lantern.
Okay.
Um, I actually have Green Lantern. I don't
Oh,
know if that
nice.
comes up at all, but I
Yeah.
have Power Ring tattooed on my knuckles. I've got a couple comic book related tattoos, but yeah, Green Lantern's always been kind of my go-to favorite superhero. Unfortunately, they butchered him in the movie, but even though Ryan Reynolds is like one of my favorite actors,
Yeah.
it was really bad. But you know what? That's the wonderful thing about like when he went to Deadpool and
Oh,
he made that comment. I was like, please don't put a green suit on me.
yeah.
It's great. I love hearing stuff like that.
All of
And
it too.
I was
Like,
hoping we were gonna get into the comic stuff too, because I was listening to Coast and I was like, "Ooh, I've got so much stuff I can bring up about this."
yeah, like I think I don't like before this. I didn't really know you were so into it, but I feel like that'd be even like a good talking point of just all us talk about like comics or movies. Are you heavy into like DCEU and MCU?
um, so I prefer DC over Marvel, and I feel like I'm in the lower quadrant there. But I think like I like DC for their darker stories. And yes, Marvel does have them, but almost every DC is a darker
Yeah.
side. Like every villain is a villain for a reason. Like there isn't a villain that's just I woke up and decided to be a bad guy. There's some kind of tragic story that you
Yeah.
relate to on a human level, and it's reaches to me. And I've always been a big Batman fan in general, and so DC's always been my thing. But it comes down to it, and I sit there when I was listening to the podcast too. I was talking out loud, and I was like, so true, man. So true. Like when y'all were talking about like you can like both. Like there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with it. In fact, there's other things out there other than Marvel
Yeah.
and DC. There's IDW. Like there's all kinds of different things that you can check out. In fact, one of my favorite things to read are like horror comics. I mean, just horror in general is a genre that I'm really into. But I love like what is his name? God, it just if I've been thinking about it for a minute and then it fell out of my head, but he's written some of the Batman comics and he wrote a horror comic called Severed and it's so good. And now I can't think of his name. I got to Google it or I'm gonna
On the
get.
same way, if it's like, oh, who was that actor in this movie? It's gonna bug me until I look it up.
Oh man, yeah, it's so bad. Scott Snyder. Yeah. He's one of the more popular guys, especially with New 52. He wrote that, and Scott Snyder's just like one of my favorite writers. He's just all in all, just he did the New 52 Batman, and in fact, like I get another tattoo again. Did you see the Green Lantern at all? Because I
Yeah,
don't
no,
want to
it came
go
out.
to
It came out.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So this tattoo that I've got on my hand here, basically everybody that walks by me, they have no clue what it is.
Yeah.
They have no idea, and they're just like, well, "Why did you get that?" It's the symbol for the Court of Owls from Batman,
Yeah. Okay. I didn't think.
and that comic book, like I will say, like I haven't been a comic book nerd for like a long time, and in fact I've kind of fallen off. I have fallen off of it. It's kind of been dead for me for a while. But when New 52 first came out and everything, like I was heavy into it, and the problem was I was spending every week like $275 at the comic book store, and I had to stop.
No.
It was way too much money, but I had to read everything. Like I was just so interested in everything I was. But I absolutely love like the New 52 Batman. Like, oh my god, that first story arc with the Court of Owls is so good. And then of course, like, and I feel to people on multiple levels about this kind of stuff, but like Joker, ever since I was a little kid, has always been my favorite villain. And now that he's become kind of a hot topic, you know, just icon, I guess, that like everybody loves. It's not ruined it for me because I'm one of those people I'm
Yeah.
gonna like what I like, no matter what everybody else likes.
Hmm.
But it is oversaturated and it kind of like leaves you with a cringy feeling when you hear stuff about Joker, even though it's always been like your favorite character. Like he's bar none like my favorite character in any comic book universe is the Joker. But it's another one of those where it's just a tragic story that I've always loved.
What do you feel about? Well, have you seen? Uh, well, I guess Suicide Squad, and you most likely seen The Dark
Oh
Knight,
yeah,
right? What do you think?
yeah.
What do you think about those both of those Joker portrayals? I know
Okay,
they're totally
so
different,
I
but
will I will say this, and this is I think this is a very unpopular opinion, but and I do have the same opinions that other people have, where you're like, well, that's not the way it was in the comics.
yeah,
But to me, when I go see a movie, I try to separate the universes because I think it's dumb, first of all, to say, well, that wasn't in the comic. Well,
yeah,
do you know how many iterations of every like
exactly.
universe that has been in every comic? Like, so I try to separate the cinematic universe from the comic universe. So I go into a movie every time thinking, okay, this is a new thing. Is it entertaining to me? Do I have a good time? Is the story good? Like it's not really going to make a difference to me if it's not exactly what I read in a comic once upon a time. But it's as far as that goes, like it's another reason why, and this is really strange, and it bothers me so much sometimes to my core that like while I never said I will never judge another comic book character or anything like that in a movie, done by an actor until I've actually watched it.
Yeah.
Because when I very first heard like Heath Ledger's doing the Joker, I'm like, you got to be kidding me, guys! Like, it's gonna be terrible. Like, he's in all these chick flicks, and like, it just no, it did not sit well with me at all. And then I went and saw that movie like 5 times in theaters for that reason. He
Yeah.
made that whole movie because in general, I did not like the Christian Bale Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I was not a fan of his interpretation of Batman just because I didn't like I liked him as a Bruce Wayne, but I didn't like him as a Batman because his voice killed me. Just absolutely killed me.
The Batman Begins was way worse though when it comes to that.
Oh yeah, it's bad too. And that whole series of movies, I didn't particularly like him for that, but Dark Knight, man, and just Heath Ledger's Joker, man, he was just phenomenal. Like, he was insane, like, just maniacal. He was smart, but just crazy. And he was like the scene where he was like, "I'm not doing it for the money." Like, some people just want to watch the world. They talk about some people just want to watch the world burn, and that's, to me, that's what I've always grown up as Joker. Like, he's not doing it for any reason. He's doing it for the fun of it, and he just wants to watch chaos. And that's kind of what I've always grown up on. And then I hear Jared Leto getting ready to play Joker, and I'm like, yes. Like, I'm so fucking stoked because I love Jared Leto, and like I love,
and he's so good in so many different roles.
Oh yeah, and he's a great like actor, and I still don't think, I thought his portrayal of Joker, him as a person, did an amazing job. His vocals, like, and his mannerisms. I just didn't like the design of the Joker. I didn't like the way they went with their artistic vision of the Joker. I didn't like the grill. I didn't mind the tattoos. Like, that didn't really bother me that much. In fact, I really liked, what was it? He had the like laughing mouth or something on his hands. Like, I thought that was awesome. Like, that didn't bother me whatsoever. It was just, it was the weird, like, I don't even know what to call it, because it wasn't really like a gangster, but it was like, it was one thug. Like, it was its own thing, but it didn't really capture to me. But as far as like, everybody hated Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And I mean, all in all, I thought the movie was good. I enjoyed it. I had a good time watching it. And like I said, Joker, to me, he did a good job playing him. It was the artistic design that I didn't really like.
I know when I first heard of Suicide Squad, I had seen the animated Suicide Squads, and I knew of pretty much that from before too. So, and then plus with everybody that was involved in it, I thought like Harley Quinn. Like, this is before watching the movie, like watching the trailer for the first time. Like, I don't know if you remember the Comic-Con trailer where it ends. It's the Bee Gees, I Started a Joke, but like it's like super like eerie version. And then when the trailer ends, it's where it's the Joker. And I forgot what the line was, but he like says it and he smiles, and then
he's like, "Oh, damn it, else bother me." He says, "This is gonna hurt really bad."
Oh yeah.
He said something about that, but yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, like that. I was like the whole trailer to me. I thought the trailer with Queen, the Queen song. I thought that was one of the best trailers that I've seen in like that I could remember. But and the movie was all right. It's just, I feel like there was some things like with the story, and I feel like they rushed a lot of things. Like,
but I think that's a problem with all these movies, that instead of, and I think this is DC's fault in general. Like I said, I'm a big DC fan. I prefer DC over Marvel, and it breaks my heart that DC is in such a bad spot, because I agree, like the DC movies, they're rushing them, and I think that's the problem. They want to be Avengers, but they need to be doing origin stories first and building up to an Avengers, because honestly, they think that that's what they need to bring in box office stuff, but you don't. If it's a character movie, they're going to go see it because it's a superhero. Like, it doesn't have to be like everybody mashed up in one movie. And I think that was the problem with most of the DC movies nowadays, is they're too rushed. Like, they need to go into them a little bit slower, give a couple movies a piece for the different uh, heroes, and of course, Justice League upset me because there's no Green Lantern. Um, that's
Mhm.
kind of a main character in the Justice League to me, so
Yeah,
that I took a little offense to
yeah.
that.
And well, I don't know if you heard, but I mentioned it on I think the one with Coast, the podcast. But do you know Kevin Smith?
Yeah, I know Kevin Smith.
Do you know what I'm about to say about the Justice League, the 3 part, or no?
I think you can go ahead and repeat it though, because I'm not exactly
Okay.
sure.
So, well, I mentioned it briefly because I think it was Coast I was mentioning it. He didn't really know, so I didn't want to like say more. But Kevin Smith said that pretty much he knew people working on Justice League, and they pretty
Oh
much
yeah,
told
yeah.
him it was going to be a 3 part series. The first one did have like the first run through of it did have Green Lantern. Second one was going to introduce the Lantern Corps and like pretty much a lot of stuff. But they were saying that I don't know if you remember the clip, but in one of the trailers that was released for Justice League, there's the clip of Alfred working on a car, and then somebody
Yeah.
approaches and he says, "Oh, like just in time," or something like that. It was something like just I don't know what it was, but showing like somebody was there to help. A lot of people thought it was Superman. It was supposed to be Green Lantern,
Yeah.
and like I feel like I mean for me it's like you said like they're rushing into things and then they ended up just rushing the whole movie, pretty much 2 of their movies into one, which was Justice League. But like I mean, now knowing, I kind of think I know your answer to this too. But would you have rather have seen that than what we got?
I mean, honestly, I just want to see like origin stories and then build into it because I feel like when you make this mashup of movie like characters into a
Mhm.
movie and no background about them and you don't have like any idea about like how all these got together, which I mean Justice League explains that a little, but I want to know what's happening before all this, and it
Yeah.
just it just kind of throws you in it. And that's all I want to see. I want to see more. As much as I love action and all that, like that's kind of what I want to see these movies for. I think a big problem with like older Marvel movies was everything had to have a love story in it,
Hmm.
and I think that would have saved a lot of older Marvel movies. But yeah, I just want to see more. I want to see where it makes sense and it doesn't feel like it's
Yeah.
just mashed together. And I have been told like Batman, I think it was Batman versus Superman. Like I watched it, didn't really enjoy it. Like I didn't think it was horrible, but
Hmm.
it was bunched up. Like
Hmm.
that's really what it came down to.
Yeah.
And somebody told me that when the extended edition came out, like it makes a huge difference in the
Yeah.
movie. I
I was
haven't
gonna
sat
mention
down
that
and
before.
watched the extended edition, but I need to sit down and watch it because they said it makes a huge difference. And I'm for that. And like to me, if you can't fit it all into one movie, break it into two. Like
Yeah.
I much prefer that than, just everything mashed together like it is now.
But even like, I feel like they could have released because I saw the extended one, and you're right. Like, there's a lot of questions that are answered. Not everything, but there's a lot of questions that are answered within the extra like 30 minutes. But it
Yeah.
wasn't even. I think it was 3 hours with the extended 30 minutes, which isn't like crazy, especially for
Yeah, I mean there's plenty of movies out there that are 3 hours long.
yeah,
Like I don't know. I don't know what the thought process in that is. Like people are going to get tired sitting there watching a movie. I mean, if the movie's entertaining, I can sit there all day.
yeah. And it's like I remember when they announced that movie too. It was you know to it had to be really bad for me not to want to watch it because it's at the end of the day it's Spider Man, sorry, Superman going up against Batman. Like
Yeah,
whether you think Superman's OP or whatever it is, it's like no matter what, like I still want to see that fight, even though it kind of
yeah.
ended how it did. But like you go for
And it
that
also it
aspect.
was way too quick to me. Like it just like
Hmm.
that should have been so much longer than like I felt like the fight was like 5 minutes
Yeah.
and then it was just over and it's kind of like okay. Like that's my big complaint with and I it's another unpopular opinion I have. And with Infinity War, I did not like I thought it was one of the best Avengers movies I've seen. Like I thought it was amazing. And I will say, like, I think one thing that hurts DC is how good Marvel's like effects are. Like Marvel's effects are so much better than DC's, and they need to get on. Like, if they got to pay more money, whatever they got to do, they need to get on that level. But the ending to Infinity War, where uh, God, why can't I have I'm it's getting late at night, my brain's farting out. Um, what's his name? Thanos just like he just sits down and then it's like the movie is over and I'm like, to me I didn't like that ending. Like it just
Mhm.
it bothered me. I don't like when things just when I feel like there's just so much going on, like the movie's just going up, 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 and then it didn't even like go down. It just
Yeah.
like stopped and then just that was it.
So
And like I don't particularly like that.
supposedly it was supposed to end with like the actual snap, and then that was the movie. So like you don't even see everybody, you know. Um,
And
but
see, I would have almost liked that better because I would have felt like, okay, that's leading into the second part where we're gonna, get a little bit more answered. I just felt like I don't know. It was just I can't even explain it. When I saw like I had no complaints about the whole movie, but to me, a movie ending can really ruin a movie to me. If a
yeah.
movie ending is bad, and I'm not saying it was horrible, like I've seen way worse,
Mhm.
but like him just sitting down and like leaning back and then that was the end of the movie. And I was like I needed something. I needed like hope or, something. I need something more than just him sitting down. Like that wasn't for me. I did not enjoy that.
And that was like the comics too, because that's like exactly, well, not exactly, but more or less what happened. But yeah, no, I could see that, but I also kind of see it the other way too. Of like when I first, because obviously even before it was announced, there's obviously going to be another one, to where once that movie ends, you already know like, okay, how are they going to get out of this type thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
oh man, and I guess one thing that I think I know, maybe not know the answer to, if you had to have one superhero to protect you, who would it be? Or I'm sorry. Oh no, yeah, that.
um Green Lantern. Power Ring can do just about anything. I'm fine with that.
Who do you think is the most OP superhero?
Honestly, probably Superman. And I'm not a big Superman person. I've never really enjoyed Superman in
Mhm.
general. And so like that's to me that's saying a lot. I mean, yeah, he does have kryptonite that basically enables him to do nothing, but I guess like if we're talking about in today's world and stuff, like we have no way to access something like that from that far away. I know that's a whole different thing, but you know, that's I think he's really OP, and he's never really been my thing. But that I think that's why I liked Man of Steel so much because when that movie first came out, me not being somebody who likes Superman at all, like and seeing that and just it being such a good movie in my eyes, I was really into it and I loved it because it made me enjoy something that I did not really like in the first place.
Yeah, I think that movie is a pretty underrated movie for DCU, because a lot of people say, I'm not like that, but a lot of people say like, oh, all DCU is pretty much bad except Wonder Woman, which Wonder Woman was good to me, but
Oh, my Wonder Woman was wonderful.
uh, um, but there was one scene in Man of Steel that I like. I think the whole movie. I don't know if that just stuck with me, but the scene where he's, I guess not a little bit younger, but with the twister or the tornado with his dad. Remember that?
Yeah,
Like that, I
yeah.
remember thinking too. Like I don't know. I felt like it brought a different aspect to it, to where like I've never really seen like. Obviously, you don't want to pull off Spider Man's cap in front of everybody to realize who he is. Which, oh, I guess Spider Man 2 did that with the train scene, but
Yep.
but this was like him saying like, hey, pretty much the dad's point of view of just like this is more than just like your his abilities are more than just protecting him. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that scene was really good. I think that movie was way better than a lot of people put out to
Yeah,
be.
I think people bashed on that way too hard. In fact, my hopes for Batman versus Superman were really high because I liked Man of Steel so
Yeah.
much.
Mhm.
But
And
then it ended up being what it was.
I know you talked about like wanting to get that origin story before, like a Justice League type thing. But what did you think about Aquaman? Because it was kind of like the opposite. Like
I
he was
haven't
brought
seen
in and
Aquaman
oh,
yet.
okay.
I have not seen that. That's the one that like I wanted to go to theaters and see, but I just never took the time to
Oh,
go out. In fact, like I don't know if this is like a world, at least a nationwide thing, or if it's just like my area. But movie theaters have been getting really bad lately. With like, I feel like every time I go to a movie, there's some like frat boy beside me, laughing at
oh
everything
wow.
and talking the whole movie, or there's like some girls and they're screaming for no reason. Like there's always something that's disturbing me during the movies now. And I don't know if that's just me getting older and me realizing this is going on
Yeah.
or what, but it's kind of drawn me away from going to the movie theater anymore.
Where do you
And it
sit
really
when you go?
sucks. Um I mean, typically I like to sit like when you walk in, go up just a little bit, there's usually a rail across, like blocking you from going down below. But that's where I like to
Mhm.
sit because I like to put my feet up. But that's typically where I go. But I mean, if there's already people there, I try to avoid people wherever I sit. But I swear to God, no matter where I sit, somebody's walking in behind me and sitting directly behind me or directly in front of me. And they're going to sit there and talk the whole dang movie.
Yeah. I like sitting in the because I for me unless it's like a movie where I know there's an end credit scene, I'd like to just beat the crowd and get out of there quick to where like right
Yeah.
in the so like you said like that first part where the bar is or like where that
Hmm.
little where you can put your feet up like there but on the ends on the closest end
Yeah.
seat.
I usually like to sit in the middle, but
Yeah, to me it's
like
like a
like I
lot of the
said, if there's
theaters.
if there's people in the middle, I'm going to sit on the
Wherever, yeah.
edge. Like I avoid people. That's
Yeah.
that's my thing. I think no matter where I go, I'm a hermit. Like I don't like going out into town and
Yeah.
stuff. Like if I can avoid leaving my house, I'm going to. I just don't like general population, and that's one thing that I think like is great about streaming is like I don't have to go out in the real world and I get to meet people who are actually kind. I think the real world is
Yeah.
much more cruel than a lot of people that I've met on the internet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try to avoid that. Like I said, I try to put myself in a good position in a movie theater, but it's like no matter what I do, there's been a few. I honestly out of the last, and it's been a long time since I've been to a movie, but out of the last probably 10 movies I've seen, there's probably been two that haven't like pissed me off in some way or another because people are talking or laughing or something the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of gotten to the point where I'm like, I just rather wait till I can watch it at home.
Yeah. I know that's the way I feel like I was like that with Aquaman. Like I hadn't seen it. I think I saw it like late January, and it had already been out for months. But yeah, that's the way I am sometimes. But sometimes I'm more of like I try to get out of the house and try to like every Thursday usually. But
Yeah.
past few weeks has been different. But I always try to go to the movie. I have like the AMC whatever
Oh yeah, the
pass.
one that like you can watch a movie a day or something like that.
Yeah, it's I think it's 3 a week, which I don't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just cool too because you see random movies that you wouldn't think of. But yeah, but you should check out Aquaman. I feel like
Yeah.
it
I really do
was
want to
pretty
watch it
good.
because I've heard from most people that like I again like we were talking about earlier where you got people that you're kind of more on a spectrum with as far as
Hmm.
movies go. The people I've heard have enjoyed it. I have heard critical things. Again, the one thing you always hear from everybody, oh, it's not like the comic book, and
Yeah,
I could give a shit less. Like I want to have a good time while I'm watching a movie.
yeah,
And if it's that, then it's a good movie to me. Did it entertain me? Did it keep me awake? Like one thing is I've gotten older, and because I work swing shifts, I'm
Fall
always
asleep.
passing out during movie. So if I can stay awake a whole movie, like in theaters, I never fall asleep. But when I'm home and I'm laying down on the bed watching a movie, it's almost guaranteed I'm gonna pass out. My wife hates it, but like honestly, if I can be at home and laying in bed and the movie's entertaining enough that I stay awake and really interested, then yeah, it's a good time. It's worth my money.
Um, well, RIVs, it's been a little while. Um, I want to thank you for coming. Thank you for letting me chat with you for a little bit. Hopefully, we'll have you back on soon, maybe with somebody else on. But for the people who are listening, where can they find you on pretty much everything?
You can find me on twitch.tv/Beasweezle, Beasweezle. Same thing on Twitter, Beasweezle, and Instagram on Beasweezle as well.
All right. Any last words to people listening?
I hope you enjoyed this. It's been a blast, and I can't wait to do something else, whether it's with just us two or getting in a group. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to where this goes. Whether it's me, I know Sarah's is supposed to be coming up. I mean, by the time this airs, it's been out. But I'm really looking forward to hers because I love Sarah, and it's another streamer that I don't really know much about. So I think this is a great place to learn about all these people, and I'm just having a blast.
I know I just found out about that like 2 hours ago. Well, that's cool too. Yeah. Um. Well, all right, Bees. Again, thanks for coming on. Thanks everybody for listening. Who's listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast, or if you're watching it on YouTube. Um. Yeah, I guess that's it. If there's anybody you guys want to see, there's comments in the YouTube section, or you can hit up the Twitter Eat Sleep Stream. And if there's anybody you want to watch, or want on the podcast, let me know and I'll go bug them too. But that'll be it for today. We'll see you all next week. Bees, thanks again.
Yeah, have a good one.